kind of a different video for you guys today. I'm actually in the middle of building my dashboard, and if you want to watch me build this dashboard from scratch, I'll leave a link to that video in the description down below. But today's topic is not about the dashboard, although I will overlay some footage of the dashboard over me talking, because if I don't, then you're going to get a lot of pauses and it's going to be really annoying to watch. I'm in the middle of getting this done because I have a car show to get to in a couple days. So as soon as I can get this dashboard back in the car, it's going to be one less thing I have to worry about for the car. If any of you guys are wondering, this is for my 1972 Dodge Challenger, and I've been working on this car on and off for the last year or so. And I've got a few videos of that progress up on the channel as well if you guys want to check that out. But like I mentioned, today's video is more of a reference to something that happened, well, it has been happening for a couple weeks now. Earlier this year, around January, and pretty much before that, honestly, I was challenged by a gentleman by the name of Pontiac Rays from Pontiac Rays Garage on YouTube. Pretty cool guy. He's a little bit of a weird fellow, but he's pretty cool. And in the previous video, I basically went through what ended up happening between he and I, and what made us get to a point where he decided to challenge me and wanted to race me and my car. After which Pontiac Ray actually responded to that video with his own video, and I wouldn't call it a response, more so as him trying to make me look bad. And that's whatever, that's his prerogative. He wants to do whatever he wants to do. And he said some things that he knows aren't accurate. We've already talked about this before. In his video, he basically laid out either a bunch of lies or a bunch of borderline lies. To put it simply, his video kind of felt like it was produced by CNN. Like, there were so many things pulled out of context that it makes you wonder if he has any respect at all for his audience. Does he think that nobody's actually going to do their own research? Or does he think that his viewers don't watch my videos as well? Does he really think that his audience is so dumb that they won't go and watch my videos to see if things are true? Because honestly, what will happen if you go to my videos and you realize that what I said in the 2-second clip that he posted is not what I actually intended to say in the full clip? Like, what kind of person does that make you when you clip out sections of a video to make it look like I said something I didn't say? And as shady as that is, that's honestly not even the topic of discussion for today. In the description, I'll post a link to his video, and below that, I'll add links to every video that Pontiac Ray referenced, in case you guys want to watch it, get the full context, understand what's going on. I really don't want to do this shouting match, going back and forth, he said, she said kind of thing. If you guys are interested in the truth, go ahead and watch the videos. If you guys are blindly following whatever Pontiac Ray says, then just continue watching this video. Honestly, it doesn't really matter in the long run. Things are going to get done the way things are going to get done. So the topic of discussion in today's video is just lining out all the rules that Pontiac Ray set up. So as previously stated, Pontiac Ray challenged me back in January. He basically had 7 rules that I had to follow. Rule number 1 was that I have to physically own the car. I can't go out and borrow somebody's car. I have to own the car myself. Rule number 2 was that it had to be like a real car. It couldn't be like a tube chassis car or a custom frame chassis dragster. It had to be a car that started off as a regular passenger car, and it couldn't be modified to the point where the body was on a tube chassis. That rule was made just so that I don't go out and buy a tube chassis car like a dragster, drop a motor in it, and go. We're not necessarily trying to make it a fair race, because no race really is a fair race, but we're trying to close up any obvious loopholes. That's pretty standard. The third rule was that the vehicle in question had to be LS swapped, meaning that it could not have the option to have an LS installed from the factory. The idea behind that was to keep me from buying, factory LS cars like, let's say, a Corvette or a Camaro or something like that. It had to be something that didn't come with an LS, like a Ford Mustang or a Dodge Ram or something along those lines, that there was no way that that car could have come with an LS from the factory, and I had to swap an LS into that car. Plenty of options, right? As long as it didn't come with an LS from the factory, we were good to go. The fourth rule was that it had to be a completely functioning car, which means that you should be able to drive it on the streets. It should have turn signals, it should have headlights, it should have brake lights. The idea behind that is just so that I don't show up with a completely gutted car that only has an engine, a couple wheels, and the quarter panels. It does kind of take away the spirit of the street car if you kind of gut it and then use that to race it. So I had no problem with that rule at all, just like the other ones. The following rule basically said that I had to build the car myself, which means that I couldn't buy a shell and then pay a shop to put an engine for me. Or I couldn't buy a car that already had the LS swap in it. I had to take a car and then LS swap it, put the work in myself, which does make sense. This is kind of a battle of the builders scenario, so it wouldn't make sense to have a shop or have somebody else build a car for you to race for you, right? So he wanted me to build my own car. I'm going to build my own car. Like I stated before, I'm a builder, not really a racer, so that's right up my alley. The next rule that he placed on me was that the car had to run a certain amount of time in the 8th mile. I believe the minimum time was like 7.38, and I had to demonstrate some sort of proof that the car runs at least that before he goes out to race me. That's kind of like his barrier to entry. Like, if I don't run at least that, then we're not going to race because I'm obviously not fast enough. And I said, sure, no problem. As soon as I build the car, I'll start putting some test hits in it. As soon as I got at least one number above whatever his number is, then I'll send it to him, and then we'll be good to go. We can race on that. And the last rule that we had, or at least the last rule that I thought we needed, was that this race was going to be run what you brung. So we were going to race 2 out of 3, depending on if the track was going to let us race that many runs or not. And aside from that, there was no limitation on tire size, tire compound, weight, engine, drivetrain, horsepower. You could basically bring something that fits all the rest of the rules, and so long as it followed them, you can run pretty much whatever. Naturally aspirated, nitrous, turbo, supercharger, it doesn't matter. He told me it doesn't matter. I said that's good with me. So that was it. As of, I believe, early yesterday, today I think it's March 27th, yesterday was March 26th or so, I don't remember, today's Thursday, yesterday was Wednesday, so wherever those dates fall, that's what it was. As of early yesterday, those are the rules that were completely set and agreed upon, and pretty much agreed upon months ago. Like, we had already said, yes, those are the rules that we're going to go by. I reached out and I was like, Ray, these are the rules that we had agreed to, right? And he said, yeah, everything looks good. And I said, okay, perfect. So I said, let me ask you a question, and I'm going to be paraphrasing here because it was a long conversation. I basically said, can I buy, quote unquote, buy Travis Black, another YouTuber's car, that doesn't have an engine or transmission? Can I buy that car from him and then install my engine and my transmission combo into that car and race you? Well, as soon as I finished asking the question, all hell broke loose. He was like, why are you trying to race somebody else's car? You're taking away from the spirit of what we're trying to do. You just don't want to build your own car. You can build whatever car you want. Why do you want to race that one? Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go ahead and put the chats up either on the screen, or I'll put them on a folder and I'll leave the link into the description down below in case you guys want to read it. But it's a doozy. It's a doozy, and I don't know why it was such a big deal. It was an example that I put out to him to see what he would say, because I need to make sure that if I pick a certain car, it's going to get covered. It didn't mean that I was going to specifically run that car, but the point of the question was because he knows what car I was referring to, I know what car I'm referring to, and so we would have a general understanding. Does this type of car fit within the rule set? And Pontiac Ray first said no, that you can't go out and get somebody else's car. And I said, perfect, no problem. Let's add another rule. You cannot race a car that you didn't build, even if you bought it. That was a rule that I came up with. And he said, sure. Does that mean that you want to race the black car? He has like 3 Pontiacs or so and a bunch of motors, but he has the 2 main ones is a black Pontiac and a blue Pontiac. The blue Pontiac is a dedicated race car. The black Pontiac is kind of more of a street strip kind of car. And the reason he was asking if I wanted to race the black car was because his blue car was actually built by someone else. It was raced by someone else, and it won a certain amount of races. And after the guy was done racing it, he pulled his engine, his transmission out of it, and then sold it to Pontiac Ray. So Pontiac Ray bought a fully built race car with roll cage, back half, whole 9 yards. And I said, all right, if I have to build my own car, you have to use a car that you built. I don't care what car that is. I don't care if it's your black Firebird. I don't care if it's your 80s square body Firebird. As long as you built it, then we're all good to go. If he was mad before, he was super mad right there and then. because he basically didn't have anything to say. What was he going to say? No, you have to build your car, but I can just run whatever car I bought? No, right? He wasn't obviously going to say that. So we had a little argument. Like I said, chat is going to be on the screen where he goes through all the excuses and saying, no, you can't run the car. And I'm like, but what's the difference if I buy a car this way or that way? And the whole point for me was I'm leveling the playing field. If he's going to put all these rules against me, I should have a few rules against him as well. Maybe not like the 6 or 7 rules that he placed against me, but, you know, like a few. The final result was that Pontiac Ray could not race the blue car anymore because the blue car was a dedicated race car that somebody else built. So that's out of the picture. Once Pontiac Ray realized what the point of that argument was, like a flip of a switch, he changed his mind. He said, you know what? I believe it was half an hour later. He said, and I'm paraphrasing again, he said, you know what? Go ahead and go grab Travis's car and I will build the blue car. It is okay. I have no problems with it now. Go get it. Go get it. Actually, I'm excited to go race that car because he finally figured out what my point was and what I was trying to accomplish by asking him those questions. I never had the intention of going out and borrowing somebody else's car. My intention was to have him realize that the car that he was racing was built by somebody else, and what is he going to prove by racing a car that somebody else built versus a car that I would build? Where is the self-respect that he was talking about in his previous video? Why is it not okay for me to be slow in a car that I built, but it is okay for him to go fast in a car that somebody else built? And I asked him to try to make it make sense in the mental gymnastics that man goes through every time he tries to prove a point where he knows that he's wrong is just absolutely insane. Go ahead and read the chats. Like, the guy is off his rocker. As soon as he gets ticked off, any excuse that comes through his mind, he will immediately just start barfing it out of his mouth and just saying the most random stuff. It's really out of pocket. If you guys feel like getting frustrated, read the chats. I'm not just paraphrasing one or two things. It's like we're going on for hours at a time. So that was yesterday. Fast forward to today, almost 24 hours on the dot. By the end of that day, I basically said, no, we already agreed that I'm going to race a car that I built. You're going to race a car that you built. And then we're just going to go for it. And begrudgingly, he's like, all right, whatever. I'm still going to beat you, blah, blah, blah. Which is fine. I don't care if he wins or he doesn't win. But come on. You can't be parading somebody else's car as if it was your own. It's one thing to say nice things about one of your buddy's cars. It's not like you say, oh, Jose's car runs X, you run Y. If you guys run about the same time, you guys are equally fast. But because Jose's car has an engine that's smaller, was built cheaper, and goes just as fast as your car, I believe his car is more impressive than yours, especially if yours is over 100 cubic inches bigger than his is. Instead of going back and saying, yeah, that was a bad day for me, I had a lot of problems, and ending the conversation, he goes through a whole spiel about how every car that I have built has been super slow, but then I claim to be a racer, and then I claim that I'm not a racer, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm a hack, and I don't know what I'm doing, and blah, 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 blah. Which is fair. He can say whatever he wants about whatever he wants. There is no way I can try to sway the opinion of a person who thinks like that. There's no way to make a person who hears one thing one time that contradicts what he's saying and then turn it into a big old argument about pretty much nothing, honestly. The argument is about nothing. So jumping back to where we're now, Pontiac Ray realized what I was trying to do. We already set the rule. And then he comes back and says, you know what? Bring whatever car you want. Go get Travis's car if you want to. I don't care. I'm going to beat it no matter what. Race car versus whatever you got. And I'm like, dude, we already talked about this yesterday. Like, we're not changing the rules again. We already agreed that we're not going to race a car that we didn't build. Why are you so adamant about trying to race somebody else's car? Just race your own car. Go build your own car. And he was just yelling a bunch of nonsense and making fun of me. The last straw for me was pretty much where he said that I was just trying to take advantage of the rules, that's the reason that he said what he said, that I was trying to go behind the rules and get a ready-built race car. When he's trying to race me with the car that he builds, he was expecting me to race a car that I built, and I had to stop him right there. I said, come on, man. Those messages, I'll put it right here on the screen just so you guys understand the gravity of the situation. I basically asked him what he's talking about. His blue car was caged, back half, raced, and built by somebody else before he ever even got it. And he has the nerve to tell me that I'm trying to back out of a race because I'm trying to make it so that both of us have to race our own cars that we personally built? How does that make any sense? Then what's the point of all these rules? Why is he trying to put all these rules on me? And as soon as I put 1 or 2 rules against him, he has a huge hissy fit about it. So that's where we're at right now, and I'm going to add one more thing. I'm going to be at LS Fest in about a month or so, which means that from this point forward, I need to start working on an LS swapped vehicle. Regardless of what Ray does, I have to have an LS swapped vehicle in about a month or so. Reason being is that I have responsibilities that I have to take care of because of sponsorships that I currently have going on right now. Basically, I signed several contracts that said I was going to be at certain events at a certain time, and I have to continue with those obligations in order to be sponsored for the following year. So regardless of what happens with Pontiac Ray, I'm going to have an LS swapped vehicle in about a month or so. Keep in mind, I'm going to be building an LS swapped vehicle pretty much from scratch. I already have the car in question. It does not have an LS engine. It has other powertrain already pre-installed in that car, and it runs and it drives and it does what it needs to do. So I've got to rip all that stuff out and then create content on the LS swap while building it and trying to make it to LS Fest in about a month or so. So if I can do that in about a month, Pontiac Ray can install a Pontiac engine into his Pontiac powered car so he can race me. So that's what we're going to do. Pontiac Ray has 2 months to install his Pontiac engine into his Pontiac powered car. He's not even doing a swap. Grab his engine, put it in his car that he already has, and in 2 months we're going to race. Because after I finish the LS events, the LS is coming right back out of that car, and we're going right back to what we were doing before. So it's either in 2 months or we're not doing it. If Pontiac Ray can't simply reinstall a Pontiac engine into a Pontiac powered car, but I can LS swap a non-LS vehicle in the same amount of time, that says more about him than it says about me. So Pontiac Ray, I know you're listening. You got 2 months. It doesn't matter what kind of lies you spiel. Every time you tell a lie, I'm always going to put the context of that lie in the comments of the following video. So keep digging yourself a deeper grave. So the only thing you're doing by lying, by clipping out 5 seconds of a video, is making yourself look bad when people realize that you lied. You're no different from CNN, you're no different from ABC, you're no different from Fox News. So keep doing what you're doing, pal, because you're doing a great job. I'll see you in 2 months.